That is the stupidest thing you can ever do.
What is the most important thing for someone who's just trying to grow their money?
So I learned this from my mother, and I actually built a whole company around it. Yeah, there she is. So I haven't seen that picture in a while. Damn. I mean, what she did, the performance was extraordinary. And with that, she put my brother and I through college. She took care of her family when they fell on hard times. When I saw the results, I said, that's it. That's how I'm going to invest for the rest of my life.
So talk me through this. I want as much detail as possible.
Okay, let's start with this.
Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, is the self-made millionaire and investor
who's built and sold companies for billions.
There's a lot of people don't like me for my bluntness. I don't care. Because there's people that don't think ahead and find themselves mired in debt, but then pissing away money, spending $28 for lunch. I mean, that's just stupid.
What about a house?
The mistake that people make is they buy too much house. Never let the mortgage and the cost of maintaining the house be more than 1/3 of your income.
Now, how much does the person that you fall in love with have an impact?
Are you kidding? It's everything. And I did some research, and most marriages can survive infidelity. They can't survive financial stress. But if everybody that's listening does this one thing, you will have over $1.5 million.
Kevin, can anybody be an entrepreneur?
No, only 1/3 of people can become successful entrepreneurs because there's a couple of things that you must achieve to be successful. First,
Kevin, I'm going to ask you to do something which is quite difficult because I'd find it quite hard if someone asked me to do this. But before we get into the detail, can you give me a 30,000-foot view on your entrepreneurship and investing career? Just the 3 bullet points that are most pertinent before we dig into those specifics.
Every entrepreneur I've ever talked to that finds himself where I am today has a defining moment where they are pushed into this path. It's something they can remember, and they remember it in perpetuity. And I'll remember my moment, getting fired in an ice cream store. That's simple. First day on the job, asked to serve and scoop ice cream, and I did that all day, but when people sample ice cream, they get a taster and they take their gum out and they throw it on the floor. Somebody's got to scrape the gum off the floor at the end of the day. I only took that job because I was very interested in a girl who was working in the shoe store, and I figured I could, hang out with her afterwards. And I saw her waiting for me, and the woman who owned the store said, "You've got to scrape the gum off the floor." And I didn't want her to see me on my knees with a scraper. It was bad for my brand. I was in high school. And she said, no, you have to do it. And I said, you hired me as a scooper, not a scraper. She said, how about you're fired? And I didn't know what that meant. And it was the defining moment for me because I realized there's 2 kinds of people in the world. There's people that own the store, and there's people that scrape the shit off the floor. And you have to decide who you are. And I'm not saying being an employee is a bad thing, not at all. But for me, it hit me. It just hit me.
Kevin, there's a present for you. We give a present to all of our guests.
Really?
Underneath that black.
Can I open it?
You can open it.
I just take this off? Oh, look at that. You've heard the story. That is exactly how it looked, except it was black gum. And that was exactly the tile. It was just like that Mexican tile. That's really freaking me out.
So you were asked to scrape gum off a Mexican tile?
Yes, just like that. And in order to do that, you got to get down on your knees and do it. And I just couldn't do it. And then the rest of the story. I eventually could afford to bulldoze the whole mall if I went to. And we went back to meet her and thank her for her pushing me off the treadmill into that direction. And she was gone, and there was a bodega there instead.
You said there that you realize that there's kind of 2 people in life. There's the entrepreneurs, the person that owns the ice cream parlor, and there's the person that scrapes it off the floor.
Yeah.
That provoked a question in me, which is, do you think anybody can own the ice cream parlor? Do you think anybody can be an entrepreneur?
No. I've tried to teach it, and I mentor it all the time to the CEOs that I work with. There are some attributes of people that can do this. A certain element of risk tolerance, a certain element of focus, and then the other element, which I've really started to believe in of late, is karma, luck. You need to be lucky. It's like Napoleon was once asked, who are your favorite generals? And he said, my favorite generals are lucky generals, my lucky generals. And I'm starting to think that in life, particularly entrepreneurship, you look at the difference, the path of success and failure, and nobody's exposed to it more than I am in terms of how many investments I've made over the decades. I think if you want a percentage, I teach these cohorts at Harvard. I'm an executive fellow there. I'm very proud of that work. You get a class of 120 people in a room. 2/3 of them want to become consultants. That's why they're there. And lead a life of mediocrity and never make a decision of consequence in their lives. And after 24 months, they are tainted with that disease forever.